This is a paper about modelling what's called the informal sector in the developing world. So most workers in the developing world, in poor countries, work in the informal sector. So these are workers, typically very low skilled, low paid workers, working in jobs where they're paid very little. And I suppose we want to understand, are they paid very little because they work in the informal sector, in these sectors that are removed from regulation from government? Or are they paid very little just because they're low skilled and so on? So we try and model this in the paper, provide a model for the nature of the informal sector. Basically, the informal sector tends to be, there's a stylized fact that the informal sector is really small firms as against big firms. So we provide a model that makes sense of the formal sector as a group of small firms where workers are paid less, and then there are bigger firms in the formal sector where workers are paid more. This all kind of evolves in models. That's what it's about. The main thing is that what the model does, and we have some empirical results in the paper too, some evidence in the paper too, is to say that at least part of the reason that informal workers are paid more is because they're in the informal sector rather than just because they're low skilled and so on, which is a big question in the literature. So there are good jobs and bad jobs, and some people are in bad jobs because it's in the informal sector. Now this leads to a whole series of other questions. How do we improve the lot of those firms, and how do you lead to the development of firms so that people will be paid more and so on? But at least we understand, it provides an insight into a better understanding of the nature of these informal jobs, that they are bad jobs versus they're good and bad jobs. The stylized fact is that the informal sector is these small firms. But why is it? Why are small firms in the informal sector? So we provide a model where the informal firms choose to be in the small firms choose to be in the informal sector. The big firms, the larger firms, the more productive firms choose to be in the formal sector. And also it emerges in this model, this is a model with search frictions, where you can have some workers being paid more and other workers being paid less because of the type of the firm they work in. It's not that the worker is more productive or more able or more educated. So you can have this pattern of good jobs and bad jobs emerging. So this isn't a feature that's unique to developing countries. In many developed countries, there's a lot of evidence that there are good and bad jobs and so on. So our model uses those models from developed countries to try and rationalise what we see in the developing world, in these very large informal sectors, and just gives us a way of thinking about that.